That down, guys. Let's go to the opposite end of this pendulum here. So we were just talking about who we think are the best teams in the league and ultimately the best team in the league because of, now that Kansas has lost. But not a question of who's the worst team in the league. Because if we were going to have a question of the worst team in the league, we would be talking about teams like Carolina, teams like Jacksonville, teams like New England,
the Titans,
and more. But the real question is, who's the most disappointing team in the league right now? New England's disappointing, but nobody was expecting big things from New England, right? Cleveland is 2-8, but nobody expected them to be much better than 2-8. Jacksonville is 2-9, but nobody expected them to be much better than 2-9. I'd say one of the most disappointing teams has got to be the Raiders. Because at 2-9, look, nobody expected the Raiders to make the playoffs this year, but I think we're expecting a little bit more of that. I contend to you there are two teams that are definitively the most disappointing teams in the league so far this year. And now we've got to decide which one is the most disappointing. One of those teams is the Chicago Bears, who are 4-6. And obviously one of the other ones is Matt's New York Jets.
Yeah.
At 3-8.
I've never even been to New York, John. I don't even know.
At 3-8. With Chicago, again, nobody was picking Chicago to win the Super Bowl this year, but with new personnel, Caleb Williams coming into play, obviously they've had a lot of issues and turnover. We all are very well versed on how south it's gone. It's kind of a remarkable thing that they've won 4 games at this point. Is that it? Or is it the New York Jets, who some people were picking to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I know that seems ridiculous now, but preseason, there's so many people I listened to that said they had a really good shot at going to the Super Bowl. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing for them. All right. They've won 3 games. They're, what are they? 1-4, 1-5 since they fired their coach.
Yeah.
Because he was the problem.
It seems like an eternity ago, too, huh?
It does. It does seem like forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, Robert Saleh, you know what he's doing for funsies now?
Crushing checks.
Cashing checks.
Yeah.
And he's over on the sideline of the Green Bay Packers, helping out the Packers.
Oh, there you go.
Because he was like in the Green Bay Packers coach's wedding party and vice versa. So he's helping them out on their side now and laughing all the way to the bank. So what I'm going to say is going to surprise you.
Okay.
First of all, am I right in saying that these have got to be the 2 most disappointing? Because there are worse teams.
No,
I just don't think there was much higher expectations than those worst teams.
The only one I would maybe throw in there is the Giants, because they thought they'd be a little bit better than last year, and they're worse, and they're already getting rid of the quarterback they just gave a huge contract to.
I don't know why people thought they're going to be much better when they still have the same quarterback.
I don't know either,
You know what I mean?
but that was what people said.
Well, there's like bad luck teams like San Francisco.
Injuries are different.
And like you can't get it together. But I don't know that I don't know about the Bears. It's probably the Jets.
Because you're right.
I texted Ryan. I was like, "This is a big weekend for Campia. He's really going to come in on Monday and think he's Nostradamus."
But wait, you bring up the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-5 right now. And a lot of people thought, again, a Super Bowl contending team, but Kittle was out again this week.
Yeah. Well, they kind of pooped it up this week, but then not disappointing like they're toast. It's just like nothing's really going great.
I mean, they can still make the playoffs.
They can still make the playoffs, but they've had, obviously, like their 3 best players have been out.
Yeah.
it's been
rookies
difficult.
like recovering from a gunshot wound. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's like a snake.
Yeah, a little thing like that.
Okay, I guess you can, nurse your gunshot wound. But yeah, the expectation is it's probably.
Yeah, it has to be the Jets. They're the ones that had the Super Bowl aspirations, and they traded all their picks and spent all this money in a team that's in the bottom.
And they're kind of stuck, right?
They're toast.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
They fired their coach. They don't have an interim coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
And
in
they're
going to
have a hard time getting a decent coach to come in there.
Not with what
the
they have
owner
now. They got to clean house. Like they got to start over.
Yeah.
For the
I'm going to
fifth time.
surprise you. I think Chicago's the bigger disappointment. And I'll tell you why. While it is true that there were a bunch of people predicting that the Jets were Super Bowl contenders, I was not one of them.
What a Campia sack. We shit on the Jets for 3 months.
But I mean, I am not one of them. I have never thought the Jets were going to be the good this year.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is not Aaron Rodgers anymore.
Okay.
Now, did I think they would be 3-8? No.
Probably not. Yeah.
No. Admittedly not. But I did not think, I thought there was a good chance they didn't make the playoffs. But then I looked at their record once they like lost the 2 in a row after they fired the coach. Say, you know what? They could still make the playoffs because they had a very easy schedule. Now that's out of the question.
Yep.
So that's not going to happen either.
Yeah.
I never thought Chicago was going to be a Super Bowl contending team, but I honestly thought with Caleb coming in, because I went and watched him play live a couple of times when he was still at USC. I really, and maybe I was a fool for thinking, I really thought they were a 9-10 win team. I really did. And I thought Chicago this year was going to be the Detroit Lions of 2 years ago, where they're going to win a few more games than people were expecting. And it was going to be the year they turned the corner. And it just hasn't turned out that way. It's been phenomenally disappointing. So while I think the Jets are amongst the worst teams in the league and certainly a massive disappointment, I'm going to personally say, I think the bigger disappointment is Chicago. I don't know. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going with the Jets. They're the ones that spent their entire future to bring in Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and gave everybody big contracts, and have a worse record than the Bears. So I can't say the Bears are most disappointing. I do have a question though. Is your disappointment, I know it's a team game, but is your disappointment more in Caleb not playing well than just the Bears overall not succeeding?
I think it's even with the Caleb thing, it's not really about Caleb not playing well. It's like, and he's not playing great, but he's a rookie and whatever. They have not set him up for success either. It's like the overall as a team, the defense isn't what they thought it would be. The offensive line hasn't been what they thought it would be. Caleb has certainly underperformed a little bit, but again, rookie and all that kind of stuff. The coaching was, obviously their coaching went under a massive microscope after that Hail Mary pass at the end against Washington.
Yeah.
Like where so many of the other sports shows like went down and cataloged all the mistakes that happened from a coaching point of view on down on that. And they just fired their offensive coordinator. He's out. I think the head coach is going to be on his way out soon. So it's just been like a complete overall disappointment. It's not just been one kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Strong name. Eberflus that's a strong name.
Eberflus. Yeah.
Good name.
Pretty good.
And he's younger than Mike Tyson.
Maybe he could fight Jake Paul.
So if he's looking for a gig, I know
He's not coaching Chicago anymore. You know what?
Noodle-haired gentleman that's looking for a scrap.
All right, guys, the question is for you. Who do you think is the most disappointing team of the year so far? We're mentioning Chicago and New York, but maybe you got somebody else who should be on that list. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments below and let us know your thoughts.